food. How's that sound?
Food. Yummy.
Food. Faye, welcome to the show.
Mike, when family members come to visit New Orleans, what do they normally say to you?
Well, Faye, they normally say, where can I get some great food?
Important thing in New Orleans.
Boom, food.
You make gumbo wrong.
I like food too. I'm sorry, Faye, go ahead.
You make gumbo wrong and you're chastised by the locals. And don't even get me started on crawfish. Well, let's talk about the local restaurant in Metairie that'll really put a smile on your face, called Andy's Bistro. It's located at 3322 North Turnbull Drive in Metairie. Andy's is perfect for date night for millennials and married couples, or an intimate gathering, and has a wonderful wine pairings with their dishes. When I ate there, I personally paired my wood-fired salmon and wood-fired cauliflower with Kendall Jackson Chardonnay. Although everyone's palate is different, often a full-bodied white wine is the perfect complement to salmon and cauliflower.
I like full-bodied. Mike?
I like full-bodied in my wine and women.
We're sorry, Faye. Go ahead.
Salmon is one of those kind of foods that you hope is tender and fresh. And let me tell you, tender and fresh is exactly how I would describe the cauliflower at Andy's Bistro. It came out hot and tender and crunchy all at the same time. The cauliflower also had a tangy dressing that you could dip the florets in, but the cauliflower stands on its own, hands down. PJ, when you cook salmon, I don't know how you cook it.
I don't actually cook my salmon. I eat it raw.
So sashimi, okay.
Oh, that's what it's called? I thought I invented something new.
Well, for me, I aim for around a medium salmon. To achieve this, a means of direct and indirect heat, perfectly achieved by a wood fire, leaves moist and flavorful salmon and very palatable for the person to taste it.
You know what I found out? I was talking to one of the chefs that work at a restaurant on St. Charles Avenue, and they told me if you see the white appear on salmon, you've overcooked it. That's actually that's actually the fat that's coming out of the salmon, the fatty acids. I didn't know that, and Faye actually reiterated that to me today. Go ahead, Faye. I'm sorry.
Well, PJ, Andy's makes the perfect medium salmon.
Yeah.
And it also comes with a delicious asparagus with a bite to it. It's not completely softened and still has a crunch. That's what's really great about this dish. And the spices aren't overwhelming, and the taste of the fish and the asparagus are in perfect harmony with the spices. So if you want the perfect date night, check out Andy's Bistro at 3322 North Turnbull Drive, and you won't be disappointed. And also check out our social media if you'd like to see some pictures from our visit at Andy's Bistro at Out and About in the Big Easy on Instagram and Facebook. And send us some recommendations for some of your favorite places. Thank you.
Awesome. Faye, thank you so much for being our roving food reporter.
Thank you.
Do you know where you're going next week, or is it going to be a surprise?
It's always going to be a surprise.
Awesome. You're listening to Out and About in a Big Easy with Mike Wade and PJ laRive, your hosts. Hold on. We'll be right back with you.
Dodge is a powerful vehicle that affects the chemicals in the brain which may give you the feeling of immortality. Dodge is not recommended for individuals who have strong ties to social networks or are obsessed with mobile games. You should not use Dodge if you are allergic to adrenaline, endorphins, burnouts, or freedom. Dodge is highly addictive. Even one test drive of Dodge may lead to irreversible changes in your life. Dodge has been known to make the voices in your head louder and has the ability to shift perceptions and burn bridges. Dodge may impair your ability to obey the rules and respect social conventions. People with gluten intolerance, political aspirations, or lack of self-control should use caution when operating Dodge. Do not use Dodge if you are pregnant or do not want to get pregnant. Dodge may cause loss of inhibitions and in some cases bodily functions. Side effects include shortness of breath, increased blood flow to the genitals, and angry neighbors. Dodge has been known to frighten wild animals and show dogs in equal measure. Dodge Brothers Motor Company is not responsible for any decisions made behind the wheel of Dodge. Consult physician, psychiatrist, and the Holy Trinity before driving Dodge. Consider yourself warned.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Only thing I can say that happened in August.
So basically, Mom gave you, what is that called?
It's called 1962, Remember When. It's a nostalgic look back in time. It's a whole booklet full of stuff.
So basically, Mom gave you 1962 Marilyn Monroe Dies as a gift. That's awesome, Mike.
Isn't she great?
She loves you.
She does.
Folks, welcome back to Out and About in a Big Easy with your host, PJ laRive, and my co-host. What's your name?
My name is Mike Wade.
Mike Wade. Mike, what else is going on in beautiful downtown New Orleans?
Well, PJ, it's always a smorgasbord of stuff that's going on. But you know what? I love jazz and I love trumpets in particular. I used to play the trombone in high school, but the trumpet is the instrument, you know, for jazz. And Kermit Ruffins is playing at Bullet Sports Bar pretty much every Tuesday night, sometimes Thursday nights, right, at the Treme Mother-in-Law Lounge. And he pops in and he jams on trumpets. And I got to say, this has got to be put on the list of places to go in New Orleans, man. I love sports and I love jazz, so what better place to hang out?
I love it. And Kermit, what a talent. Back about, I don't know, I guess a year ago, he put out on social media, he was looking for a truck, an SUV. And I said, man, get the Lincoln Navigator or a Land Rover, you know. And I saw him like the very next week at another party where he had popped in. And I said, what kind of car did you get? He said, I took your advice. I bought a Lincoln Navigator. So at least somebody listens to me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't. But other thing I heard about him is that he's... I love you, man. You know that, right?
I know you do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I do. But I also heard he hangs out with Bill Murray, man. Do you think that's true?
No, it is true. I know. He's hangs with the Bill. Oh, my God.
I love Bill Murray, man. He is funny.
He is a funny dude. He listens to Out and About in the Big Easy. I'll take it. Kermit Ruffin's side gig is at Bullet Sports Bar. You know, so and you know, he's got his mother-in-law lounge. Overall, when he starts rocking, he starts rocking. I mean, he's multi-talented dude, and he's got a good voice. We've played his music on a couple of our LA stations and Miami, and you know, he travels a lot. He goes to New York and he's all over. And I think just recently he played the national anthem at a baseball game. I think he was in Chicago. So he's multi-talented all over the place. We can't.
Kermit's a handsome man too. I'm looking at him, man. He's a good looking dude, man.
Mike, you know what you can experience nightly at Jackson Square?
Well, I don't actually. What?
It's cat party.
It sounds intriguing.
It's nightly cat party at Jackson Square. Every friggin' night of your life, 9 million cats are hanging out without you at Jackson Square. For real. When the tourists leave and the sun goes down, Jackson Square cats own the night. Since Jackson Square never closes, there's nothing to stop you from stopping by to chill with legit downest cats in town. I've seen them with dark sunglasses, hoodies, leaning against a pole, smoking a cigar. I'm telling you, 9 million cats are hanging out at Jackson Square. But you know, it's New Orleans. Yeah, and dude, I like cats. I'm a dog guy, right? But I like cats. But
cats are cool.
Cats are just different, right? A whole different personality. And I don't mean to sidetrack, but I'm going to tell you, my daughter fed a cat when we moved into our house years ago 1 can of tuna because she said, "Oh, Daddy, he looks hungry." I'm like, "Don't feed that cat. It's not our cat. Don't feed that cat." You know, Mike, that cat is still around. Last night I got home, I guess around, it was really late, and I unlocked the front door and I hear meow. And I'm like, "What's up, cat?" And I look down and there's 2. Now, so he told his buddy, "Hey, bro, there's tuna at that house. The little girl's going to feed you." So now there's 2. And then and I didn't have my glasses on for some reason. And I looked down and I thought I was seeing double. They're identical, except, so I hurried up and I got in the house and I closed the door and I told my wife, I said, "Listen, there's 2 identical cats, yellow cats in front of the house." She says, "No, they're not identical. One's, you know," she says, "put your glasses on and look again." She says, "One is young and one is old." So in New Orleans, I don't know if you knew this, if you have a cat that's stray in your neighborhood, you can bring them to the Humane Society and they'll spay and neuter for free. And what they do is they clip the top of the cat's ear when he's or she is under anesthesia. And then instead of putting it up for adoption, there's some character that picks the cats up, brings them, gets them fixed, and then they bring them back to your neighborhood and drop them off. So this cat's got his ear clipped, so I know he's fixed, or she. I don't pet it because I don't know if it's got its shots or not. But my Great Dane and the cat are like buddies. I don't understand how a cat and a dog like this, my big Marmaduke Great Dane and the cat, and you can hear the cat in the middle of the night going, "Wow, this dog's beating the crap out of me," and tell him to let me go, right? So I was going to go to Jackson Square, actually tonight when everything calms down, it's Sunday night. I'm going to go around midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'm going to pick up about, 4 or 5 of these cats. I'm going to bring them to your house since you like cats so much. What do you think? That's a great idea.
Well,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, good idea.
That's a great idea. So if anybody wants a cat, go to Jackson Square, because it never closes. The gates are never closed, and there's nothing to stop you from taking a cat. Don't grab the ones with the sunglasses, the cigar, or the bandanas, or the hoodies. Leave those. Those are the downest cats we got. So
no, crazy.
You're listening to Out and About, and you're on WWL. Mike, we have the most interesting stuff that pops in. Travelocity sends us the most interesting stuff about the city we live in, like we don't know what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. They sent me this beautiful thing about our cemeteries, and then as you read through it, this email, it gets down to this thing, and I cut it out and I quoted it and I dropped it on my desk so I could read it to you. 3 centuries of death, disease, war, pestilence, love gone wrong, and murder have given the city's goosebump intruding tales of unexplained phenomena. This is how Travelocity sent this as they thought I was a tourist, right? Take the evening ghost, legends, and lore walking tour with Strange True Tours. Now this is actually a company here, Strange True Tours, and hear why New Orleans is the most haunted city in America. Looking for more tales from beyond the grave, join the City of the Dead walking tour. Now this is this is pretty interesting. Now I went to the City of the Dead walking tour, and we went to the famous St. Louis #1 cemetery, and they were paying homage to the famous New Orleans such as the Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau. And the guy says, where the saying 10-foot pole comes from, right? And everybody just got quiet because everybody was tourists except me, and I was just like standing back just listening to this guy spiel. And he says, well, back in they had the Black Death, and they took a pole and they ran out of cemetery space, so they pushed the guy back with a 10-foot pole and jam another body in there. And I'm thinking, oh my God. That's exactly. And I'm like, that's not true. And my voice, I'm like, I got a pretty booming voice. I'm like, that's not true. And he says, sir, please, that is absolutely true. And I'm like, I'm going to Google that. And I left the group, and the damn guy was right. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, Travelocity's got these 3 centuries of death, disease, war, pestilence, and love gone wrong is their new campaign to send tourists to this beautiful city we live in.
That's going to work.
Oh, this is going to be great.
Oh my God.
Explore the city's bohemian side in St. Claude's Corridor. The area called St. Claude Corridor is one of the city's oldest, right? So with lots of architectural beauties that survived Katrina. Today is one of the most vibrant places for the bohemian-minded. Now, I actually had to look up what a bohemian was. With the New Orleans Healing Center, which is really cool, great yoga, offering everything from food co-op, vintage clothing, Middle Eastern cafe. It's so cool. The New Orleans Healing Center, you gotta go see it. Mike, there's so much stuff that's going on in New Orleans.
Always.
If you want to get spooked, go to the cemeteries of death, disease, war, pestilence, and love gone wrong. If you want, or go somewhere that's a little more bohemian on St.
Yeah.
Claude's Corridor. Everybody have a great weekend. You're listening to Out and About in a Big Easy on WWL, New Orleans.